These are the City of Mirror playing cards, and I do not have a single deck in my collection besides this one that can do things like that. And later in the review, I will get to the process of how they actually can pull this off and the technology behind it, which is absolutely wild as well. But the front of the tuck box just says City of Mirrors and has a lot of a city behind it done in either purple and black and green and blue for daytime, or then when you turn it, it then turns into nighttime in only black and white. The one side says TCC Playing Cards Company, and the other side says City of Mirror Playing Cards. The bottom says distributed by TCC Playing Card Company and tccplayingcards.com. The top says City of Mirror, and the back of the tuck box has the same type of cityscape design, and the entire tuck box will be able to move and shift just like this. Now this tuck box is not made out of paper like most tuck boxes are. You'll actually hear what type of material it's made out of with just one finger. It's the same material that we used to have as kids when you'd see like Mickey Mouse on one side and then Goofy as soon as you walked right past it. The large inner tuck flap is going to continue the same design, but I will tell you that opening it up definitely makes it feel like it's going to break because you can actually start to hear it creak as you do. Your two small inner tuck flaps are going to continue the same thing, but that's all I can say for the tuck box. Let's take a look at the cards inside. The City of Mirrors playing cards back design is absolutely gorgeous. It's intricate, and honestly, I don't think I'd change a single thing about it, maybe making the border a little bit thinner, but outside of that, absolutely beautiful. Now on to the number card. You'll see that all the number cards have been completely customized, where the pips and indices and values have all been reshaped, and all of your black cards are now going to be only in black and white, as the same thing as the nighttime on the tuck box. That's what it looks like all the way through, but placement is going to stay standard. And then as soon as you get to the red cards, they're then all going to be in color. These are of course going to be your diamonds, but honestly all the way through it's just going to be the same thing but in color. So super cool the way they did that, continuing the same thing with then clubs and then all the way down to hearts. Your three aces are going to continue with the same pattern, though I do wish that all of the pips would have been enlarged slightly to just separate them a bit from the numbers. Then onto your court cards, and you'll see that the black cards and red cards are going to have the same black and white versus colored idea. And at first glance, I thought they were all the same thing. Then I realized they were not all the same thing, kind of, and let me explain what I mean by that. You'll see that depending on which half you're on, they are perfectly split in two. These all match these. So let's just take these two kings for example. These two kings are going to match if they're in the center. So once you can get rid of these two, one is in color, one is not. Then we'll get on to the next two queens. One is in color, one is not. Same thing all the way through. One is going to be able to match the other, but it's not like all four jacks are going to be the same, because if it's going to be spades here and then diamonds, these two are not. But spades would then be able to go with hearts, just like that. You then get some stunning semi-duplicate jokers. Your first ad card is going to be a TCC Playing Cards ad card, and the second one is going to talk a bit about the technology behind how this deck was made. And what it reads is, the City of Mirror Decks box is created using lenticular printing, a type of lithographic printing that uses lenses to reflect light and display different colors and patterns depending on the viewer's angle. This technique showcases the city's day to night transitions, towering skyscrapers, and neon lights in the same plane, creating a stunning visual effect. And last but not least, your City of Mirror playing cards, Ace of Spades. Now, although these cards look beautiful, let's see if they can handle as well as they look. So first we're going to start with a Faro shuffle from bottom to top, and you can see that they clearly Faroed every other unbelievably easily, might I add. Absolutely no issues there. And then we'll check from top to bottom as well to make sure it can Faro both ways, because some decks can and some decks cannot, and this one Faroes perfectly every other on both sides. Now before I get on to the last part of the handling of this deck, you will want to know that this is not a two-way design. If you just take a look at this tower right here, then if you flip it over, that same tower is not over here, except for now it is in black and white. So if you riffle through, you can have it to be the same actual design, but depending on which way you have it, it is going to be black and white or in color, but it's always going to be the same design on both sides. So technically speaking, this is a one-way design, but it's really a two-way design with one-way colors. And I can tell you that after 10 years of being in the playing card community, I've never seen that done before. And then when it comes to the stock and the feel of these playing cards and how it's going to handle in your hands, I will say that the finish on these playing cards, how it's actually going to glide in your hands, is a little bit stiff and a little bit rough sometimes, but truth be told, it's going to glide any way that you'd want it to. And then when it comes to the actual stock and the feel of these playing cards, it is a little bit thicker than normal, but not by much. not to where it's actually going to make much of a difference. And then when it comes to if it's either snappy or buttery, if it's going to be a snappy deck, it's going to be better for things like backdrop or ATM, respectively speaking. Those are these two moves here. And then if it's going to be a more buttery deck, it's going to be better for things like a card spring or under pressure, which looks like this. That's under pressure, and then of course a card spring is this. Now it is definitely a more buttery deck, but personally I prefer doing snappy moves with it just because of the finish. The only reason I call it buttery is because it's a bit more malleable in comparison to a snappy deck that is not, but you can tell how malleable it is based on the fact that I just did under pressure one time and you do get a little bit of that warping. But honestly, just by doing this a couple of times, getting maybe a shuffle into it, you're going to see pretty quickly that it's going to go right back to normal and have no bumps or different warping. So truth be told, you're not really going to have to worry much about it because it's a really quick fix because of how malleable it is. And if you are wanting to pick up these playing cards, you should definitely check them out right now because they are currently on Kickstarter and at a massive discount because of it. There's actually 4 decks that are on their Kickstarter at the same time. And by they, I mean TCC playing cards, which I talked about earlier, who are kind enough to send me these and the other 3 decks. And if you want to see what the other 3 decks are, of course you could subscribe, so you can be notified when those other reviews drop, or you could just go and check out the unboxing video, which I will link right up here if you want to check that out. And if you want to check these out, you can check out that link right there so you can go in and buy all 4 decks for yourself. Thank you once again to TCC Playing Cards for sending me these decks to review just for you guys, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. This is CPM signing off.